Thanks, Al. I appreciate it. It is now 7:41 on 102.7 Mom FM. Welcome to the studio. They are back here on WMOM. Wally, Cain. Good morning, Wally.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, thanks for coming back in. We're going to be talking about the Petunia Parade, and also in the studio, Mary Lou. How you doing, Mary Lou?
Good morning. Thanks. Great.
And so glad that the two of you are here. Had a chance to visit with some of the captains, the block captains, the co-captains last night in your organizational meeting, and that was a first for me. I sat down and I observed some of the questions that were asked, and in the last minute preps for this weekend. And Mary Lou, this is kind of exciting for newbies and as well those that are returning, those veterans, right? With the Petunia Parade this weekend?
Yeah, a lot of new time people to do their blocks for the first time, but also a lot of people that have done this since 1988.
Wow, that's incredible. 35 years or so that happening there in the Ludington area. And the crazy part about this, Mary Lou, is that this has kind of changed over the years. Some of the things that I pulled out from last night's meeting was that it didn't just start by the hospital like what we see today. It went a lot farther down, right?
That's the understanding we have. It did go out on Highway 10.
Wow.
Yeah, big wow.
That's crazy. Down like Mancino's and farther that way. And the other thing is that the colors weren't not just the red, white, and blue. The colors were like there were some pinks in there and others, right?
We understand red, white, blue, purple, pink, red, white, blue, purple, pink.
All right. Wow. Pretty cool. And so that's kind of morphed over the years. Part of the reason, Wally, is because you want it to be as easy on the volunteers and the captains and everybody planting and maintaining, right? Why do you think it's changed over the years, Wally?
Everything evolves over the years, and I think just basically concentrating it just in the city of Ludington helps. We don't need as many volunteers. We don't need to raise as much money. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just evolved, and it's evolving now even as we speak. We've made a lot of changes. We're going to continue to make changes, but we're always interested in volunteers. We are a nonprofit. We're always interested in people donating money to help continue the Petunia Parade year after year. Yeah,
and a big part of that, or that misconception, is that the city of Ludington puts this on. They don't. This is all volunteer-based, and that's the way it's been since day one, right, Wally?
That's correct.
Yeah. And
no, that's not to say that obviously we get help from everyone. We get help from the sheriff's department. We get help from the city of Ludington, the DPW, the marina. Who else? Lots of volunteers, lots of hands-on to do this. But it is just the regular folks of Ludington and the surrounding communities that come into town and help us plant the petunias.
And Mary Lou, we put up some of the photos from last night's meeting, and even some of the comments last night was, this is what we look forward to. This is what we love to do, driving down US 10 Ludington Avenue and right into downtown Ludington with the petunias on both sides of the road.
That's correct.
And that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Let's talk about some of the changes. Wally, you did a change last year in regards to the picking up of the petunias. I remember 2 years ago. There was you were kind of and a group were driving up and down Ludington Avenue saying, hey, do you need more petunias? Here's the flats, so on and so forth. You wanted to get away from that as much as possible.
Yes. We used to, and as I said, we're evolving, we're always changing, as everything should be. We used to put petunias on two trailers, and we used to take them up and down the avenue and distribute them. Mm-hmm. But then last year, we basically said, let's give the petunias to the block captains when they want them. Mm-hmm. So there's one distribution center. Block captains will go to Rotary Park, and starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning and get in line. They'll pull up, they'll identify themselves. We have a list of every block, how many petunias of each color go to that block. They'll identify themselves. We'll basically look at our list and find out they get 3 red, 3 blue, 3 white. Mm-hmm. We'll load up their truck, they'll move on, and we'll do the next one. Mm-hmm. So I think within an hour we should have all the petunias distributed to all the block captains, and then they take the petunias back to their particular block, and they have their volunteers, their teams start planting the petunias.
And Mary Lou, this is kind of a strategy, and the way they want to do it. For instance, there are some templates, but we talked last night, or we heard from people putting in different colored spoons, to straws, to other markers, to make sure that that section is red, that section is white, that section is blue. And over the years, you just kind of, if you've been doing it for a long time, you figure out what's the best way.
That's correct. I think the thing is, like you learn by doing my first year with my block captain, we were overwhelmed. We really did not know what we were doing. And so when people showed up with auger, with different trowel skills, dibble, I've learned the word of a dibble, different ways to make the job easier. But certainly the red, white, and blue, how many times we counted by twos up to 24. Chalk is good, popsicle sticks, but we heard, like you said, plastic knife, fork, spoon with red, white, pink, blue, whatever. So yeah, strategies. Veteran planters know what they're doing, and they teach the newbies.
Yeah, because if you're a newbie, I got the impression that if you're a newbie and you're bringing that little shovel, you're going to be there for a while, right?
Yes. Our first year, again, we got started after the flowers were delivered, so we were slower getting started. We looked down the block, and we both were like, oh, my goodness, we were overwhelmed. All of a sudden, people that were done with their blocks showed up, got their hands in the dirt, and helped us, and it made the job so much easier.
That's cool. And volunteer-wise, how many volunteers do you think that there is for Saturday? Wally, what's your thoughts? You keep pretty good counts of that.
I'd say there's going to be anywhere from 350 to 400 people up and down Ludington Avenue on Saturday morning between 8 and 11 planting petunias.
Wow. And you have help from various businesses and organizations. The Ludington Obots are going to be there. Mark Boone. What's that tie-in, if you don't mind, Wally?
Tie-in is just people wanting to do their service for the help to make the community better. So everyone, steps up, volunteers. The Obots are helping the Rotary. The Rotary has a park down by the west end of the avenue, and the Rotary has sponsored the robots. So the robots have volunteered to come out and help plant, and then I believe they volunteered that when they're done with Rotary block, that they're going to just mark or walk down the avenue and help anyone else that needs it.
And that big part of them helping to load those petunias into the back of the vehicles, that makes things go smoother. And in the past, Mary Lou, we were seeing the volunteers be out there from 8 a.m. till noon or even past that time. Last year, because of these adjustments, a couple hours and they're done.
Exactly. The city will be putting up the cones in the morning. US 10 will be closed. The inner lane will be closed from 8 until noon, and then show time for the community to have both lanes open. It gets so busy, we know that. We really focus on safety, and we do have that inner lane closed off for the safety of our block captains and planters.
And that's a big part of our conversation this morning, is that if you are going to be on Ludington Avenue or even out down by the marina, because there's some planning there by Harborview, that you need to make sure that you slow even more further down on your speeds because of that one lane. That it's not going to be that normal 2 lane between US 10 and the House of Flavors. It's going to be down. You're going to see emergency vehicles in some cases, because like the Michigan State Police, they come out and they help plant for a little bit there. You'll see some of the volunteers driving up and down Ludington Avenue, but we've got to make sure that everybody is safe, and that's why we'll see some orange cones, orange vests, and other safety things. But we want to keep all of our volunteers safe, and knock on wood, there's never been, as far as I know, any incident there. But as a motorist, we need to show safety measures for them, right?
That's correct. And again, the block captains, we have the neon shirts. We're wearing those today. Yeah. That helps. But anything and everything to improve the safety of our captains and excuse me, planters. The other thing is every 2 weeks, within every 2 weeks, those block captains will go back to the block and cultivate and weed and make sure things look good. That's the time we don't shut down the road. So that's another time to just be safe. We try to do everything we can on those follow-up days. I think there's 7 of them, but we want to make sure our block captains are safe and our planters are safe.
And a big part of that, and by the way, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Mary Lou and Wally Cain about the Ludington Petunia Parade. That is this weekend, 8 a.m. to noon is the planting. The parade, I mean, that is the start of, and the kickoff of kind of summer, right? I mean, you've got the petunias out there. People, the traffic has increased and up and down Ludington Avenue. And, the big thing that I learned last night, or one of those, is that the petunias are only 2 to 3 inches away from the curb. I mean, that's where people are planting, literally right next to the street. And so, Wally, those safety precautions are huge when it comes to wanting to keep everybody safe.
Absolutely, both for the motorists driving up and down as well as the planters. We try to stress safety as much as we can. We provide cones for the planters and the weeders during the rest of the season. Recommend they obviously wear safety vests and reflective gear, and have kind of some kind of signal that they're there planting right by the curb.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to that. We're going to be covering that this Saturday morning, beginning in the about 7:30, 8 o'clock range. Mary Lou, question for you is that there is a science behind this. People, again, it was a great time to be able to go to that meeting last night. 2 other things that I pulled from it was that the soil that the petunias go in, that is tested. That is, you work with Michigan State University on this. What's that relationship like?
Again, you have to have good soil to grow things. So we work with MSU Extension. Every 2 years, we send them 12 different samples across all the different blocks. There's almost 3 miles of blocks where we plant. So we want to make sure our soil, according to Ted, Bradkey, and Kathy, that hasn't changed a whole lot, but we want to know when we apply fertilizer initially, after we are with our cultivating and, with fertilizing with the rototilling, that we have the right fertilizer down, and that's coming from MSU Extension. And then twice throughout the summer, we will re-fertilize. So.
And then at the end, this is the other big part, Wally, is that there is a reason why these petunias are pulled at a certain date during the season. And the reason why is what?
Just mold. Basically, we have to pull the petunias around the 2nd week in September, because mold and fungus gets in there if we leave the petunias too long, and they will just destroy the soil, and we will not be able to have petunias in that soil. If we wanted to continue, if we were to do this, we'd have to replace all of the soil. So there is a reason for pulling right after Labor Day, early September.
And this came up as part of that conversation last night, is that there are certain cities in Michigan that, plant petunias and have been unable to do so because of those issues with keeping the petunias in too long.
Yes, they left the petunias in too long after the season. Fungus and mold grew in there, and it made the dirt unsuitable for petunias going forward.
Wow. All right. So there is reasons behind the madness. No, not the madness at all. Mary Lou, if you don't mind, as we wrap up, is there 2 or 3 things that the community should know that maybe they don't know about the Petunia Parade? Anything that comes to mind for you?
We always need planters.
Okay.
And if they want to show up on Saturday, or they can reach out to us on our website or Facebook. If they want to show up, that's fine. We do have some blocks that could use extra hands on Saturday. So again, we'll work with people if they know they can arrive. I think the other thing is just that community. We're all in this together. One gentleman last year came across Highway 10 when we were weeding. He thought this was a city event, city project, and he was shocked. He was from Detroit area. He was shocked, and we said, no, it's totally volunteer. We have 30,000 petunias, and it's a nonprofit. So again, we need planters, but we can always use that donation just to enhance the monetary aspects of it for our nonprofit.
And up to almost nearly 32,000 petunias. Gustafson's big part of that and has been for years, right?
Yeah, again, when I went out, they planted, and we got a picture of that. And when they're like 1 inch
Yeah.
tall, it's like, oh my goodness. We picked up a couple 2 weeks ago, and last night they look really good. They're ready to get into the soil, though. They're getting a little root bound there, so they're definitely ready to get into the soil.
All right, there you go. And Wally, same idea. Is there anything that we want to share this morning that we haven't? Maybe some things that people don't know about the Petunia Parade.
Other than it's a sign, another sign of spring that the Petunia Parade is happening this Saturday, 8 to 12. Come out if you can. Just walk around, help, volunteer to help, and obviously we're always interested, hoping for donations to help us continue this.
Absolutely, and that's a big part. You mentioned the volunteers a moment ago. Is that one of the conversations that came up at the meeting last night was that you had a block captain and a co-captain there, and first timers. And they feel a bit overwhelmed. I mean, because it is, you have a template. You got to keep to that, but just maintaining and making sure, because you don't want your section to look weird or bad or die in that sense, okay? But having those extra volunteers throughout not only the planting process but throughout the season can help weed a little bit. You talked about last night. There's some weeds that are there's not only crabgrass but other weeds that come into play and that we need to get out of there, right, Mary Lou?
That's correct. Yeah, we're working with those block captains. When we cleaned up last year, we were shocked at the length. We had 3-4 foot long pieces of weeds. So we're going to work on edging next spring so that we widen some of those blocks. Some of them are at least 16 inches wide. Some of them are pretty narrow. So we want to make sure we have the weeds removed as much as possible.
All right. And in a photo we put up last night, you have now this template that you roll out. Literally, it's a landscape material.
Correct.
Rolls out, and you have 24 petunias
Yes.
that you plant, and exactly where people are supposed to plant those petunias, so that everything is in sync throughout Ludington Avenue. It's pretty cool.
It is.
So if you, and by the way, we don't encourage people to count them as they're driving. Let's just clarify that. But there is sets of 24 as you go along of the different colors. So it's pretty cool. It's down to pretty much a T. Obviously your science with the soil, but also the above ground. How to get the holes in there. You had mentioned because some of the captains are a bit older. Instead of bending over, you have this really long drill bit. And the holes, creating the holes there. But if anybody is interested in volunteering, Mary Lou, they just pretty much show up at Rotary Park right there at between 7:30 and 8 o'clock on Saturday, right?
That's correct. 8
All right.
o'clock we'll start distributing the petunias.
Okay, and then figure out which block you're going to. You're going to see planting from Corwell Health all the way down to the Lakeshore to Lakeshore Drive, and then around the marina too, Harborview Marina. Around that, they go both around the corner, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So right there, beautifying the city of Ludington. Mary Lou, we appreciate you coming in this
Thank
morning.
you. We have one more thing.
Oh yeah,
We have
absolutely.
a surprise for you.
Really?
It's the official.
Oh, what is this? Okay, hold on. Can I look at it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. All right, I'm looking.
You don't have to guess what's in it.
Let's see what that. I get my own shirt.
Exactly.
That is cool.
That's for you, Chris. We
Thanks.
appreciate all you do.
No, I appreciate this. I will wear this proudly.
Very good.
And
Thanks.
because it is a great event, the Petunia Parade here in Ludington. And by the way, thank you for all that you do. You've been a part of this for how many years now, Mary Lou?
4 for me.
Okay. And Wally, what's the count for you?
I think it's 9.
Well, okay. And then we had some volunteers last night. all the way from year one.
Yes.
Oh, it's incredible. So if you, by the way, you gave me this shirt. This isn't recruiting me for a captain this year, is it? Because
Not this year.
okay, but I'm sure that's going to come down the road. But would be happy to help for sure. Thanks for taking some time with us, Mary Lou, and this morning, and Wally as well. Thank you for stopping by this morning.
Thanks, Chris.
It is 8:01 on 102.7 Mom FM. Stick around. We've got news and weather coming your way next on 102.7. It's Mom FM.
Thanks for